Okay, we're gonna restart. And that is not to say that like it's, I'm not, how many times that not, oh wow. Hi. There is cat hair all over my mic. Straight. Cause I'm not. Sup nerds, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maddie. If you're new here, I hope your day is going well. And today we're gonna do a tag video, which is crazy. I cannot believe I'm doing a tag video in the year of our Lord 2024. It has been a minute since I've done one of these videos, but I was tagged by the lovely Rachel from Reads with Rachel, and I thought this was kind of a fun thing to do. I have to go turn off a fan, 1 second. I really could have just left it on. It is 115 in Vegas right now. So if you can hear fans or anything like that, sue me, it's hot. We are going to be doing the booktube oldie tag created by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. I have been on booktube long enough that I don't think this is the first time someone's made a booktube oldie tag. And I am 90% sure I have made one of these before. And I don't think I know what the questions were. I think that this was a little bit different. But I thought, hey, might as well kind of reminisce. I've been doing this for about 8.5 years at this point. And I thought that let's just go ahead and chat about booktube in general and like kind of what I think I want to do with my channel moving forward. Because booktube kind of feels like an ex at this point who I am still living with because we share expenses or something, you know what I'm saying? Like not like necessarily a bad ex, but one that I'm just like, ugh. You're still here, aren't you? Not in a bad way. Like, I really like hanging out with them, but like, kind of want to move on to new things, you know what I'm saying? So the first question in this tag is, when did you start your channel? And that was 8 years ago in 2016. I was like maybe 21, 20, something like that. It's been like pretty much the entirety of my 20s, I have been making content on YouTube. If you've been here for a very long time, you've probably seen a lot of the early stages of this channel. And if you are like aware of that, because a lot of that content is private at this point, you may not think that I've been in the community as long as I've had, but I've been here a hot minute. What were your staple videos when you first started your channel versus now? Actually, the funny part about my channel is that pretty much from the get-go, I've been making like unpopular opinion videos. My first video that I did where I made a review that was a little bit more, not necessarily critical, but like, it was more in support of a book that people were hating on. It was one of the Lunar Chronicles books. But even since then, I have been doing a lot of videos that are specifically either critical of the community itself or critical of a book that's very popular. And now my rant reviews are obviously the bread and butter of this channel. I think the change is more so on YouTube's part. Like when I started BookTube, you know, there were monthly wrap-ups, TBRs, vlogs, things like that. And those are still things that BookTube does in general, and like maybe top 5 Wednesdays and tags. But I just don't watch that content really anymore, and I don't really even engage with it as much on TikTok as I'd like to. But I definitely watch more video essays on series than I do like recommendation videos or things like that. Like I do like that content and want to do more of it, maybe in short form on Instagram and TikTok, but I definitely do not see that in my channel for the future. I just don't see myself ever going back to making that type of content again, just because I feel like it doesn't work well with the brand that I want to and the community that I want to build here on YouTube. Question number 3 is, what was your favorite book the year you started your channel, and what is your favorite book now? And I do find this funny because I actually have the same answer as Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. My favorite book I read when I wasn't even on BookTube yet, and it's still The Night Circus. At least this is kind of the book that I recommend the most to most people. It's one of my favorites because it's a standalone. If I'm going to say like what is my favorite book that I had when after being on YouTube, it was probably Six of Crows. This book has the most foundational and fundamental change in my life. Having a fandom that was this big and so important to me early on in my channel was really important. And now I would say probably my favorite book currently is Gideon the Ninth. Don't talk to me. I am still hoping that Electo will maybe get news for some point this year, please. But this is definitely the book that I talk about the most and has become become the focal point of why I'm so happy to be in this community, because this series is not something I probably would have even known about unless I was still in the community, like making content. I still think it's funny that The Night Circus is still a book that even though I like absolutely love a lot of books that I've read because of YouTube, I still think The Night Circus is one that holds that like really high top spot, because it was a book that I didn't go into with any like bias or emphasis from YouTube. You know, I just think that's kind of an interesting thought. Like, what do you guys think? Do you have books that you remember reading prior to finding booktube that have been really, really fundamental for you? And do you think that those books were more effective because you found them not from a social media site? If that makes sense. Question number 4 is, how has your reading and your reading like habits changed since joining the community or having a channel? And I would say that when I first started, I had a very over ambitious plan on reading like 100 books a year and doing a bunch of reviews and things like that, which I realized very quickly is a lot harder to do than you think it is when you first start a channel. And then I started reading a lot, like way too fucking much. It was just too much. I was reading like 150 plus books a year. And for people who make this their job and have a lot of free time to be reading specifically all the time, that's completely feasible. Totally fine. When you're trying to read like high fantasy books and like a bunch of those every month, that is just not like, you can't do the numbers like the girlies who read a bunch of romances. I'm not saying that that's like shaming the romance girlies in any way. Don't come for me, Romancelandia. I'm just saying it's a lot harder if you read a bunch of dense books in a year versus like, 250 to 300 pages of really easy contemporary writing. And so I had to be way more generous with myself in the last couple of years, that I didn't want my only hobby, my only free time to be just reading and just making videos about reading. And that's why I really like the turn in my content more towards commentary rather than just reviewing. And I think that that gives me the freedom to read and review books that I actually love a little less in everybody's face, like I do enjoy reading for pleasure now and not necessarily just for YouTube. I do want to start talking and bringing more of the books that I do enjoy to the forefront of my channel as well as my other platforms, but it's just very difficult to do so when your bread and butter is making videos about books you don't like. And that's not to say that like I don't enjoy making that content, because I wouldn't be still here making that content for you guys if I didn't enjoy that content. But it does mean that when I'm reading books for pleasure, I don't necessarily interact on social media about them as much as I do the negative books, because the like negative rant review videos have become work in a way. Like that is something that I do for YouTube to make money. Basically, to get to the root of what I'm saying is that my reading tastes and habits have changed dramatically in the 8 years that I've been on YouTube, as you should expect literally everything to change in 8 years. I'm not who I was 8 years ago, and I would really be terrified if I was. That person is a very different individual compared to me in my 30s, Number 5, anything you want to share about your life that's changed since starting your channel? I don't really understand this question. A lot of these questions I find interesting because my life is just different. I'm older. Things have been obviously very different from when I started this channel. I started this channel in like a completely different state, and I've moved and I've had a lot of life. I've had a lot of different jobs, like 9-to-5s. I've worked in a lot of different industries, and I found a lot of what works for me as a person, and I feel a lot more steadfast in what I want in life and what I want from YouTube. That is something that is still fluctuating every day, but that's how life works, and I feel like that's something that I find fascinating. Like it's interesting because I do think that the platform that I'm most excited to start doing is Twitch. Still a work in progress, but hopefully I will get there because I really want to find that community basis again that I feel like booktube has just lost. I don't think booktube is dead. I just feel like booktube and book talk do not value community the way that they did when I first started. And maybe that's just on me. Maybe I just haven't been looking to find and build that community as much as I used to because I've been so busy starting a new job this year, and I just haven't felt that like real camaraderie that there was when I first started YouTube. But I definitely want to find that again. And I definitely want to find that being authentic to who I am now rather than who I am before. And that might not look exactly the way booktube has always looked. And I definitely think that the booktube that I remember isn't necessarily where I feel like I fit in anymore. I have no idea if that made sense. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this video. Number 6 is, why do you keep making videos? I've already kind of talked about it. I enjoy it. I love making videos. I love making content. And even though it is still exhausting sometimes to try and sit down and film, it's still fun. And I am trying to make sure that like the perfectionist in me doesn't come out anymore. And I just sit down and film. I love having fun little chats with you guys in the comments. I love having jokes to be made and topics to discuss, and I just really want to get back to that and start doing this more consistently. Like today, I am going to hopefully film, edit, and upload this video all in one day. Probably a lengthier, talkier video than I would rather deal with when it comes to editing, but I definitely want to start making content again, just as a way to like have a creative outlet. Social media is a platform that, yes, I can have a monetary gain for, but the real reason that I make these videos isn't for that. It's for expression and for camaraderie and for the dynamics of having a discussion with people on the internet that may or may not agree with me about things. Question number 7 is, what are you excited for / hoping for booktube and your channel in the following year or whatever? I'm excited for booktube just in general because I do think that there is more of a space here than we originally maybe ever thought possible. Book talk has become something that is so incredibly popular. Now, booktube is not, and pretty much every platform related to books other than book talk has never gotten the recognition that I feel like it deserves. But I think that we are opening that space, and we have a lot of duty to just the general public to talk about books in a authentic and honest way. And I think that there are a lot of people here on booktube that have been around long enough, and I think booktube in general has that honesty first policy, even though a lot more people are more diplomatic than I am about their work or the reviews that they do. I think that there is still a much more direct approach here on YouTube where we get to the crux of an issue and actually have conversations about it. Whereas book talk and book Twitter and all of those other platforms just don't have the nuance you can have on YouTube. And I think that's why the video essays are so exciting. I don't know if I have the ability to ever make like 2-hour-long videos, but I would love to do so for you guys because I feel like it would be just so fun to just be able to just do these long videos that can just go through every single point of a series. That is definitely something that I will be working towards, hopefully. Not something that I'm going to be able to do quite yet, but if you are here to support the channel, or if you want to get to just be part of that ride and like have discussions about books and things like that, I'll have my Discord and my Patreon linked down below. There's bonus videos and like vlogs that are going to be on the Patreon every month from now on. I will hold me to that. That's what I'm excited for with booktube. I just feel like this is going to continue to be a great space to have conversations and discussions and build cool friendships with people. That sounds so ridiculous. I'm uncomfortable with feelings, if you couldn't tell. But I really am happy to still be here and making these videos, and I'm really excited to do a tag. So I'm gonna tag a few people. I don't know if they're gonna make videos like this anymore, but Ali from Hardback Hoarder was the queen of tags, so we're definitely going to tag her to do this. Julie from Pages and Pens and Chelsea from Chelsea Darling Reads, I'm going to tag. I know that Chelsea hasn't made videos in ages, but I really think that Julie and like just that like group of friends that I haven't really talked to in a minute should do this video. I'm gonna go now. Like, subscribe, all the good stuff. Bye!
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride.